What's up, guys? Welcome to the second episode of Tony's Takes. As always, I am Tony, 1/3 of Spot Monkey Radio. You can catch that program every Monday morning on your dial right here on the False Finish Network, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp. But that's then. This is now. We got a lot of stories to get to. I know last week I said it was going to be one story at a time, but I think I want to break that mold and I want to try something a little different. And we're going to do the news cycle stuff, and I'll just kind of give you my takes on them. You like them, you don't. I don't really care, to be quite honest with you. But please leave comments below. I would appreciate that. But anyway, that being said, we're going to get to the first story here. And I don't think it's big news, but I think everybody knows about it. And it's Jordan Grace and Penta both highlighted or spoken very highly at the town hall meeting at WWE. First of all, I didn't even know WWE did town hall meetings. I don't know what the fuck that's about, but okay. But here it says top new WWE signings are highlighted at WWE meeting, according to new report. WWE held a town meeting on January 29th. Among other highlights, Triple H's WWE Hall of Fame induction announcement, which we will get to later on, by the way. I have some things to say. Triple H is one of my guys. I love Triple H. Per Mike Johnson of Pro Wrestling Insider, WWE President Nick Khan acknowledged the signing of Jordan Grace and said that the company had high hopes for her and what she brings to the WWE table. Very interesting signing from TNA. I assume she's going to debut at the Royal Rumble. We obviously, you think she says some shit that, she won't be there, but we all know that's usually bullshit, and she probably will be there. But that being said, let's just get back to what else Mr. Nicholas Khan highlighted. Penta also was highlighted at the meeting as a sizzle reel for his Raw appearance played, and it was noted that the company sees something special in him. His social media engagement was also pushed. Penta is coming off a successful AEW run where he held the tag team titles and the trios titles. I didn't know he did that. He made his debut on January 13th episode of WWE Raw, which is now on Netflix, obviously. Jordan Grace wrapped up her TNA contract at TNA Genesis. The three-time Knockouts World Champion competed in the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble and crossed over to NXT multiple times in 2024. I think it was just a foregone conclusion that she was probably going to sign with them as soon as it was done with TNA. Penta, I'm happy to see in WWE. I think Penta just needs to slow down a little bit. I think Penta moves a little too fast. I think that's Penta's issue right now. And he's got to learn the real ring ropes. A lot of people have said that the cables and the ring ropes with a lot of luchadors is a big transition issue over. So, but he's a fucking pro, man. We've produced a lot of content with him on it, Penta, from many wrestling companies. I saw it, years ago with him in 2016, 2017, when we first started doing it. He was just on just random lucha shows around the area, and I could see it then. I was like, oh, this guy's going to be, in time, he'll get there, because I could see that they were trying. We talked about this yesterday on the watch along, which you can also catch on False Finish in the archives. I had AEW watch along last night, me, Malik, and Greco, my wife, and current pro wrestler in the Indies, Felix, or Don Curvin. But he was saying that they've been trying to replace Rey Mysterio for decades at this point. Whether it was Sin Cara, Kalisto, Dragon Lee, all these guys, they've tried to find the next Rey. And I think they're hoping that it's going to be Penta. I think it could be. I think if Penta slows down and figures out the WWE style, which I think he will, I don't think he's not going to. I think he's going to be the next long-term lucha libre guy in WWE. He's going to be the guy that they kind of use as that underdog Rey Mysterio character, I think, for years to come. I love Penta's work. Well, the question is, when his brother finally gets released from the death clutches of Tony Khan, will he have that kind of success in WWE? Only time will tell. We'll see. But for Penta, I'm happy Penta made it. It's good to see that he's living out his dream, because he already looks so happy. He looked like he was always having a great time at AEW. He never looked like he was miserable. I know his brother's miserable, but he never looked miserable. But he looks so much more happier where he is right now. So it's good to see that. The next story I wanted to get to, and only because I'm I'm a fan of this guy. We filmed him. We filmed some of his matches, and I like this guy. And it's Zilla Fatu. Booker T had some good things to say about Zilla. And I'll come down here with that one. And Booker T, when Zilla Fatu makes it, he'll make a bigger impact than any young star in 30 years. I think it's no secret that most of these Samoan guys are just bred to be pro wrestling stars. I think the Wild Samoans kicked in the doors decades ago, right? And then just ever since, I think the pro wrestling business belongs to the Samoans. I think it is, man. I mean, if you look right here, one of the largest family lineages in professional wrestling in the Samoan bloodline family line. The family has given the wrestling world most and some of the greatest wrestlers, such as Yokozuna, The Rock, Rikishi, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, and of course Roman Reigns. There are several other members of the family who recently showed up in WWE, that are Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa. However, Zilla Fatu is one wrestler who is a part of the Samoan dynasty that has not yet to appear in WWE. This, of course, is from Jay Kishar Disapan. Is that how you say his name? If I butchered your name, brother, I'm very sorry, but this is a WrestleZone. But I've seen Zilla Fatu many times, and he's fucking talented, man. He's good. And I think that if he does get to WWE, and we'll just get to Booker T's comment right here, I kind of agree with Booker T. Zilla Fatu, he's going to be prime for the WWE when he gets there. I just talked to him about WWE and making that move. One thing, this kid, he's not in a rush or anything to make it. But trust me, when he makes it, he's going to make the biggest impact that you ever seen any young star to come along in this business, perhaps in the last 30 years. Booker T said, I assume probably on his podcast. Dude, I agree. Zilla was he was impressive. He was impressive all the times I've seen him work, and I think that he can probably make it. Listen, I've seen glimpses of Jacob Fatu when he was doing his stuff in MLW and what have you. Like, I didn't really follow Jacob until he came to WWE, and I'll be the first person to say I'm an idiot. I should have been watching Jacob from the beginning. Jacob is phenomenal. Great promo, awesome presence in the ring. He's 6'2", but you think he's 6'9", the way he works. He worked Braun Strowman at Saturday Night's Main Event. It was a fantastic match. He proved that he could be a monster. He could take on monsters. Listen, I was a huge fan of Umaga, and I love it. I'm all for it. So Zilla Fatu, I think, will make a great impact as well. I just think, like I just said before, wrestling belongs to the Samoans, man. Pro wrestling, it belongs to them. They kill it in this business. Even when you don't think they are. Like when Rikishi was the Head Shrinkers, they were still kind of over as a tag team. Whether they were heels or when they went babyface. Then when he broke away, he was trying to start that whole that change stuff where he was wearing all this colorful clothing in the early 90s. And then he maintained with the WWE as the Sultan. I know they kind of shit the bed with a lot of those dumb gimmicks. I get it. But when he finally hit Rikishi Fatu, that's when he hit his stride. But like I said, they were always bred for this game, and they never cease to amaze fans with how they surpass your expectations. Listen, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso right now, no one expected them both to kind of separate and still maintain the success they've maintained. Usually when tag teams break up, it's usually one. I'm not saying both of them would have. Sometimes they both kind of floundered, but usually it's the one that. And you saw Jey immediately become main event Jey Uso because Jimmy got hurt, and you thought Jimmy, would he be able to catch up? And let me tell you something, Jimmy caught up. Jimmy's good, man. I watched his match on SmackDown. It was fantastic. So the Samoan boys, man, anyone that comes up, you always got to be like, yeah, they're going to be just fine. So I tend to agree with Booker T. With that, let's get into a little bit of Impact news. And I saw this on WrestleZone, and it interested me about Mustafa Ali, because the WWE just signed a deal with Mustafa Ali. When was it? A couple weeks ago. And now he just signed a deal with them. And basically what he said was TNA was the right fit for me, and I was the right fit for TNA. As you know, in wrestling in general, the industry of entertainment, sometimes it's right place, right time, but it's got to be for both parties. I absolutely love what the industry is today. I love that one roster has several options several big time options to go make it big time money, and not just the wrestlers. I'm talking about the medical staff, producers, people behind the scenes, and even people that cover the industry. So much so to do that, if you're not successful somewhere else, it's really on you. And I agree with one Mustafa Ali. There's a lot going on in the pro wrestling business, whether it's reporting the news like I'm doing currently right now, or producing it, writing it, running it, being in it. Pro wrestling, I mean, I've never seen it like this. This is insane. But I'm glad he signed with TNA. I've seen him. We filmed him a few times at House of Glory, and he's good, dude. Mustafa Ali's a good word, and I like this gimmick, this like whole presidential thing. I think that's he works, man. Like when he was in WWE, he just floundered. I know a lot of people will say that. Why did they trust him? But I think it's a new regime. He wasn't there with this regime. He was there with the old regime. The old regime didn't see it. And unfortunately, that sucks for him. But I'm glad that he came. A lot of times, I said this yesterday about our guys. Like, they have to leave sometimes to try stuff, to get comfortable with stuff, so that when they come back, they have their complete package together. Like, they'll figure some stuff out in WWE, but it's not until they leave. Matt Cardona, Cody Rhodes, even Ricochet right now. I said this yesterday on the watch along. Ricochet, I think, needed to leave WWE because he needed to kind of explore creativity. You weren't going to do that in WWE. WWE's got you pigeonholed. They need you to do what they need you to do, and you need to go out and do something that gets their attention, so then you can do that there. So you have to be able to leave to kind of let the creative juices flow, essentially. And I think sometimes they got to let these guys go that they don't want to let go, because Ricochet's talented. He's not bad. He's a shit promo. I know that. But again, you got to get comfortable in your skin. He wasn't comfortable in his skin. I think it's starting to happen because they're letting him run a heel shit in AEW. And that's usually how it works. You turn heel, and like the governor comes off. You can kind of really get creative and figure out how you want to figure this shit out. And then WWE catches that. And they go, that's the guy we were looking for. And then they bring you back with that. And then because now you've shown them, I can create on my own and make it work. And I can make it work here too, And I think Mustafa Ali is doing that as well. Mustafa Ali has a chance to return to WWE in an interesting way, whether it's NXT or whatever, because the way he left, because he was really unhappy with WWE when he left. So how that plays out, I don't know if the deal with NXT is going to involve former WWE guys. I assume it would, because the Rascals came back. So I assume at some point him, Ziggler, one of these guys are going to come cross over. Will it be in the Rumble? I hope so, because the Rumble is cooking up to be pretty interesting. And I can't wait till this Saturday when it goes down. But that being said, let's move on to one of my favorite gimmicks. I loved Bray Wyatt. I loved the Wyatt family, and currently the Wyatt Six. They came back to an interesting introduction. I'll say that. It was pretty cool. But this is what we got cooking up right here. The Wyatts now got moved to SmackDown, but they've been off TV for a while. So apparently there's a report from Colin Tessier, right? A new report provides an update on the Wyatt Six, who have been absent from WWE television in recent weeks. On the January 13th episode of Raw, Karrion Kross said that the group has been moved to WWE SmackDown. The Wyatt Six have not wrestled on WWE television since December 9th, so it's over a month ago. Episode of Raw, obviously, though they competed at some live events during the holiday tour. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reports that while the Wyatt Six absence was assumed to be a consequence of Alexa Bliss's planned return getting nixed. Okay. The company sources say that an injury-related reason is preventing them from being on WWE television. Additionally, sources said that Bliss's absence has not necessarily affected long-term plans for the group. Mike Johnson, a Pro Wrestling Insider, previously reported that Bliss was planning to return on January 13th episode of Raw, and a storyline with the Wyatt Six had been pitched as part of it. However, the plans were put on hold. The situation was later reported that there was a contract issue. I'm going to be quite honest. They don't need Alexa Bliss at all. The WWE is just fine without her. The Wyatt Six should return to TV. I think they have something interesting there. I think the Wyatts are cool. I like a little bit of fantasy in my pro wrestling in terms of like this kind of stuff. Like the Undertaker shot lightning bolts out of his hands. Uh, Kane had controlled fire. These guys were buried alive and they came back. I was okay with that. Like I like that kind of stuff. I think it's cool. I think wrestling needs that kind of cool stuff. It's like a superhero. It's like a comic book. So sometimes Doctor Strange and magic and shit was involved on all that stuff. So I'm cool with the Wyatt Six. I think they should bring them back. And if that's the I hope that's not the case. I hope they didn't take him off TV because of that dummy. I mean, that would suck for that group. That group was cooking, and they kind of fumbled it already. So I don't know what's going to happen now. Fingers crossed. I don't know. Maybe they saw, like, they were like, they were like, we gave it a shot. We don't really like it, but I like that. I like that look. I know who was it? It's Bray Wyatt's brother, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, who was the killer guy? I forgot his fucking name. Big blonde dude. Right? We all know his name. If you know him, put it in the comments below. And then Eric Rowan, right? If I'm not mistaken. It was a good group. These guys by themselves, no one really gives a shit. At least together you have something. But the problem is with factions like this, where they need to be together, can't separate them. It's a dead end gimmick because they're not going to evolve this shit. That's the problem. New pro wrestling. A lot of these people don't evolve their gimmicks. They just kind of keep it, and they just kind of run the shit out into the ground until they have to give you something new, and that's bullshit. But those kinds of gimmicks, when it's all gimmick, you got to really commit to it. And I think they did, but then when they fumble the ball, it's like, do you really want to start this up again and do this shit? But I mean, listen, I'm really paying attention big time recently, so I'm not going to lie to you. So if anybody comes in the fucking comments and starts sounding off, they did this, I don't give a shit. All right? That's why this is the second episode, because I'm starting to really watch. For the last couple of weeks, I've been really paying attention and getting back into this whole swing of things. So I like them. I like all of them too. They're all good workers. So hopefully they come back on SmackDown. Hopefully they got something for them. I don't know who they're going to fight on SmackDown. That'll be interesting. SmackDown's interesting for me now because most people are coming to Raw. I said something on Monday on Spot Monkey about bringing Cody to Raw, and Malik made a great point. They don't need him on Raw. They need him on SmackDown. So I would, but you don't put those guys in the title picture already because I like what's going on with Cody, by the way. This whole, like, is he snapping? Is the weight of the championship that heavy? The only guy that was able to carry it was Roman Reigns, and he needed an entire bloodline to carry it and stay mentally sound. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. Awesome stuff what they're doing in WWE. Speaking of WWE royalty, my man Rey Mysterio Jr. provided an update on his physical health and shit like that. So let's get into that. Rey Mysterio posts health update after trying advanced recovery treatments. A post on Instagram. This is reported by Colin Tessier. In a post on Instagram, Rey Mysterio detailed how he tried 2 incredible treatments on January 27th that are helping him boost his overall health and recovery. First, he received cold laser therapy. That seems to be all the rage in the sports world now, which helps reduce inflammation, promotes blood flow, increases oxygen to the brain, and relieves pain. Jesus Christ, maybe I need a fucking cold laser. Rey Mysterio wrote, just 20 minutes of this treatment left me feeling rejuvenated. Now, Rey Mysterio's not that old. He's in his 40s, right? Late 40s. So, but his style is very, it advances his age. Then I took my recovery to the next level with a session in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. After a thorough consultation, consultation. We determined the ideal pressure and dosage of my needs and spent 90 minutes breathing in pure oxygen, which is known to support cellular health, enhance recovery, and improve well-being. Feeling amazed and excited to continue this journey towards better health. And there's Ray getting some laser treatment. Unmasked, by the way. But, hey, it's good to see him staying healthy. Rey Mysterio, I've said this multiple times, man. You name me a bad Rey Mysterio match, and I'll name you a liar. And that's him in the oxygen chamber, I assume. That's Rey in the oxygen chamber as well. But like I said, Rey Mysterio, it's good to see that he's working on that stuff. He's trying to remain healthy and in the best shape of his life. This is a whole new era. People used to say back in the day, like, oh, 30 is the new 20. Now they're saying 60 is the new 20 or 50 is the new 20. A lot of these guys, you can't even tell. Billy Gunn still looks fantastic. He's 65. It's crazy. If you take care of yourself, you eat right, and you do shit like this, of course it costs money, right? But you can, I guess, fight age. I don't know. It's impressive, though. I'm happy to see Rey Mysterio doing what he does and staying healthy. Because Rey Mysterio was injury prone for a while. But remember when he got busted for steroids too, because he had the roid belly and everything. Speaking of steroids, Maven's he has stayed pretty relevant in the in the wrestling world. It's pretty funny. He fucking I don't know if anybody watches his channel. Sorry about that. I needed a sip of water. But anyway, Maven is in the news. Maven reveals who taught him how to blade and get color. I watched this video not too long ago. And I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. And he basically said the Undertaker taught him how to do it. He said he sat with the Undertaker and the Undertaker showed him how to get color. But let me just make sure, because he was basically watching a video of people who talk shit about him on their podcasts. And I think it was Kevin Nash said that he wasn't doing it right or some shit like that. Or he didn't like it. Let me see. Let's see here. Maven shared a new video on his YouTube channel where he reacted to pro wrestling personalities calling him out for certain things. In one clip, Kevin Nash reacted to Maven's video where he showed people how to blade. Obviously, this is from Bill Pritchard, but before I want to cite my sources, or how to get color. Nash and co-host Sean Oliver discussed talent learning how to gig. Nash noted that none of the older talent were openly talking about it when he broke into the business. And that's accurate. When I was on Tough Enough, this is now, I guess, Maven talking. When I was on Tough Enough, Al Snow and Taz never brought it up, anything about gigging or getting color. First time I had to get color, indeed, was when I was in Ohio Valley Wrestling, Maven explained. And it was one of the first things Jim Cornette wanted me to do. He wanted me to earn my stripes. I get it. I completely understand. He has a funny accent. Maven was on OVW. He was on it with Jamie Noble in a dog collar match, and he got color. That's when he got color. I remember that now. He was explaining that, and this is the video right here, obviously, of it. That day, then the way I was taught to get color in the locker room was from Easy Money. He told me the razor to use the razor, tape it up exactly how he showed, tape the blade into your wrist tape. He explained. This was further cemented a few months later once I had to do my spot with The Undertaker in the Royal Rumble. This is the story now that I'm remembering. Obviously, after the big chair shot, I had to get color. I sat right directly beside Taker and watched him while he made the gig. The Tough Enough winner added, he wanted me to see what he was going to be used to get my color. I sat a student and teacher watching him. He made the gigs the exact same way, with the same razor and the same tape, scissors. Maven thought he did a good job taping his wrist and hiding the blade correctly, but no issue with Kevin Nash bringing it up. He had no issue with Kevin Nash bringing it up, I'm sorry. And it's true. I think the way Maven showed it, I mean, that's how I was kind of shown by a couple of guys in the wrestling game, how to do it. So, I mean, there was nothing wrong with that. I guess sometimes the old timers don't like you exposing that shit. That's like, at least let's keep some of the stuff in the chamber. Let's not let everybody fucking know what's going on, So I understand both sides. But Maven is just, like I said, Maven's doing some honest, entertaining things on his channel. It is. I mean, he finally found something he can carve out. I mean, he was in WWE for 5 years. It wasn't like he had this insane career, but within 5 years he's telling you what goes on there. So that's, listen, what I'm saying? I'm impressed with that. I'm okay with that. Get your bag, Maven. You got to get your money. Speaking of getting your money, was it yesterday? I think it was announced by Shawn Michaels and Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker. I take that back. I'm sorry. That Triple H will be going into the Hall of Fame. This was done also at the WWE Town Hall. This is being reported by Anthony Nash. Great name. In a recent post on Twitter, Michaels shared footage of himself and The Undertaker surprising Triple H while at the WWE Town Hall event. The two WWE legends said that they were made an executive decision and it was overdue, and it was related to Triple H going into the Hall of Fame as the Game. Triple H, here's the video. I don't want to play because I don't want to get in trouble. But the King of Kings will be finally taking his rightful place in the goddamn Hall of Fame. This is a long time coming, I believe. This guy, in 1995, came into this WWE as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the kinetic aristocrat. No one, I think, saw the career ahead of him. It wasn't until he started to kind of team with Shawn Michaels, and that, like I said, that governor came off that you're like, oh, this guy's pretty funny. This guy's got a personality and shit like that. And then, of course, he was the leader of DX. Then he turned into the Game, Triple H, and became what I like to commonly refer to as the original ring general. Triple H, to me, is the original ring general, man. That guy, whether you want to call it the Reign of Terror when he was with Evolution, always winning the WWE title, or whatever it is, you were going to say that this guy politicked his way. Bullshit. This guy was one of the best, if not the best. Triple H deserves this. I know he went in with DX, and that's cool, but he deserves this to go in by himself. He is literally the King of Kings because wrestling was suffering under the reign of Vince McMahon at that tail end. And this guy literally single-handedly walked back in and made it compelling television again, made it must-watch television. I'm a WWE guy. I'm going to tell you right fucking now. So if you're going to sit here and tell you, hey, it's like, blow me. Fuck you. I love WWE, and this guy saved him. So you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, Triple H. All fucking bullshit aside. The guy, and like I said, he didn't want to go in. He just wanted to make this about them, about his, about NXT and all, and what he's building. He's building a team. That's one thing I love about Triple H. And a lot of people don't really give him credit for that. Because if you remember when he was with the Clique, he's a team guy. He's driving them around. He's helping them out. He's the team guy. Nobody ever gave him credit for that. Everybody thought he was a me guy. He wasn't a me guy until he needed to be. He's a smart businessman, one of the smartest pro wrestling minds, if not the smartest pro wrestling mind of my generation and possibly any generation. So that guy, high praise, deserves to go into the Hall of Fame. Like, for real, for real. Triple H, my man, my cap to you. Before I get out of here, I got two more stories I just want to get into. We're going to do this one because I love Dan Housen. And he was recently on, I'm assuming this was on Chris Van Vliet. He was just on there, an interview. But he thinks this is being reported from Joseph Courier of a Wrestling Observer. This is from Wrestling Observer, right? Yeah. Dan Housen believes his marketability should translate into television time. I don't know why this guy's not on television time more often. But yes, he was. Okay, so here it is right here. While being interviewed on a new episode of Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Dan Housen said that there is still in the process of seeing where things are going from here, but he would like to be presented on television. He thinks his character is meant for TV, which I agree, and he believes his marketability should translate into getting a spot. So now this is his quote now, in quotes. So now it's kind of seeing where that's going to go, what's going to happen. I am assuming he's referring to his Ring of Honor appearance. Figuring it out still, Dan Housen said. But I would like to be presented on TV because I think the character is for TV. I think the merchandise top sellers list for the last 4 years or whatever. So he's been a top seller on TV, is always top 3 or top 4. I think it's top. Okay, so he's at the top 3 in terms of selling. Last year, I think it was CM Punk, MJF, and me. And I think this year before that was maybe I was number 1. I don't remember. But regardless, I feel like it should translate to television time just based off marketability. So he's basically saying the last couple of years he's been at top fucking t-shirt sales. Why isn't he on TV more? That's a good fucking question, Dan Housen. I think the bottom line is Tony Khan either doesn't I don't know if Tony Khan knows he's in over his head and just is finally just saying, I can't admit it to anybody because I don't want people to think that they're right, or he's just that oblivious. I mean, it can't be. You can't be that fucking oblivious, dude. Really? Like, some of these guys should be on TV and they're not. Ricky Starks, he's fucking talented. Why isn't he on TV? Warlow was their guy. The crowd loved that guy. What happened? I don't get it. Powerhouse Hobbs, I know he's injured, they said. But these guys, they're not being built correctly at AEW. I'll tell you that right now. They're not getting the respect they deserve. Danhausen should go somewhere else. Maybe another spot, maybe on Tuesday nights, and have all the television time that he deserves, because he'd be hilarious, on NXT. I'm not saying all these guys should come to WWE, but it's one of the reasons why they want to. Because right now, WWE is doing shit right. They don't rush shit. They don't shove dumb stuff down your throat, I noticed, anymore. Like I said, that was a Vince McMahon thing. And that's gone now. That's nice. And you somehow carve out some kind of time with WWE, whether it's on NXT, SmackDown, Raw. You somehow get it, and you get over. I don't know. My last story, but certainly not least, and I only bring this one up because I love Hacksaw Jim Duggan. This is on Wrestling Inc. by Eric Mutter. Hacksaw Jim Duggan says Vince McMahon was not a good person, but still has to give him credit. Jim Duggan says, what is this? Okay, so there's Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who sees both sides of the coin. While discussing his run in WWE in the 80s on Busted Open Radio Wednesday morning, Duggan didn't mince words when describing the person he believes McMahon to be. At the same time, Duggan is also of the mind at the legacy wouldn't be what it was today if McMahon hadn't brought him into WWE during its initial boom period in the 80s. And this is what Duggan had to say. As everybody obviously knows, Vince McMahon was not a good person, Duggan says. He did not treat us well, but I'll tell you what, at 71 years old, I've traveled the world signing autographs and pictures with people, and that wouldn't have happened without Vince McMahon. Nobody talks about Mid-South Wrestling. Nobody talks about WCW. Nobody talks about WWE. It's the WWF. Hogan, Macho Man, Flair, Jake the Snake, the golden age of wrestling. And I was lucky to be a part of it. Jim Duggan is great. I said to my wife, I never understood his gimmick. I called him Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and he just screamed USA. I never really thought America was synonymous with the 2x4, but I love Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And I agree, Vince McMahon was a piece of shit, but he's a businessman. He doesn't care about your personal life. He only cares about his wallet. So he's going to treat you like shit. That's why he didn't want a union. If he was a nice guy, we would have been totally fine with a wrestling union when Jesse Ventura was like, I want a wrestling union. That was pretty good. No? Yeah. My producer's over there. Good? Thank you. But listen, he is right. A lot of people wouldn't remember Jim Duggan. They got a hacksaw they got a 2x4 over with him, for Christ's sake. All he did was, USA, USA. And we never forgot it. And we never will, Jim. We never will. Thank you for your service. That's all the time I have today on Tony's Takes. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Please give a like and subscribe if you haven't to the False Finish channel. And leave a comment below if you would disagree with some of my takes, if you agree with some of my takes. It's good to have a little bit of discussion going on in the comment section. I will be back next week with some more takes, obviously, because the news cycle never ends. And I'm digging this new format, so we're going to keep it this way. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Catch Spot Monkey Radio every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the False Finish Network. Catch conversation, the scheduled conversation. The following conversation is scheduled for One Fall with Cheyenne Ortiz. It's a great interview show. And we have all kinds of wrestling matches on this channel. So please check them all out. I appreciate you guys. And let's grow this beautiful show together here in the news cycle nowadays, because I'm enjoying reporting the news. I'm a reporter. Look at me. I'm a reporter, an investigatory journalist. Take it easy, everybody.